Hey everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to Friday Stamping. I just want to make sure my microphone's working. It looks like everything's a go. So welcome. Tonight I am actually doing a mini workshop. And as you can see, I'm using the Hello Ladybug stamp set and the Ladybug Builder punch. Hold on, I gotta move my counter is a little crooked. There we go. And always remember that when you buy new bundles that debut in our catalogs, that you save 10% by buying them as a bundle. So I'm going to be doing 3 cards tonight using this bundle. And because this is one of my workshops, I try to do 1 or 2 workshops a month. You're going to earn 3 card kits, and then my free gift that goes with the card kits is a package of the matte black dots. You're going to be see me using these on all 3 cards. A $50 order will give you the 3 free card kits plus this as a gift. Now, for those of you sharing my video, I will pick a name for all 3 cards that I'm making tonight. I'll choose a winner tomorrow. This is on Facebook. And then I also have, I think this is my last stamp set, the Calming Camellia. So I'll be picking a name for this stamp set also. So let's get started on card number 1. Let me bring in all the pieces you're going to see me use. This is the thick basic white cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that on the score line. Now I'm using some odd measurements tonight because I'll show you card number 1. You're going to see me show you how to layer just a little skinny strip on all 3 cards. So that's why you're going to see me with different measurements tonight. I'm going to use my fractions. Now all the designer paper I'm using is from the Pattern Party designer paper. This one measures 4 3/4 by 3.5. You can see that I glued this on at an angle. So I'm going to do that again. Now when I do this, what I'm looking at is the corner up here, the corner down here. I want to make sure that they're spaced evenly. Okay, so there's my first layer. Next, I've got Real Red. And this measures 4 3/8 by 2 3/4. And then we've got basic white that's going to go on top of that. 4 1/4 by 2 5/8. So there's all the fractions, where my fractions are coming in. Now for the inks on this card, I'm going to be using different colors. For this card, I'm using Tuxedo Black Memento ink and Real Red. I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment on the bottom right corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that. Just make sure it's dry. I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the red layer. So when you get your kits, you're going to get exactly what you see here, all the layers. You're going to have to stamp your own sentiment and ladybugs because we are not allowed to give out kits with stamped images or sentiments on them. Okay, and this one's going to go right here. And I have it a little bit off to the left, about 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to do one of the ladybugs. Now I'm using a lot of ladybugs tonight. I did go ahead and cut some ahead of time, but I wanted to show you how I did these ladybugs. Now this is a bold image. If you look closely, you'll see some bare spots there. What I've noticed I've been doing that helps me when I ink my stamp, because it's so bold, I also twist it. So there's the body. Next, I'm going to bring in Real Red, and I'm going to do the wings. Now, where's my punch? I'm going to get my punch out. I'm going to do this over on the edge so I can punch it out easily. Then we've got the little black dots we're going to add to this. And now I'm ready to punch that out. And I have 2 that I've already gone ahead and done because I need 3 on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. I should have stamped it in the other direction. I'm going to go ahead and cut the wings first. So there's my wing. Now I'm going to do the body. And then all I'm going to do here is add a little bit of glue to the top of the wings. And we're going to glue that right to the body. And now I'm going to flip these over. And we're going to add dimensionals. So hello everyone. I can see you guys all hopping on. I'm so glad you're here with me on a Friday night. It's nighttime here in Maine. So it's 7 p.m. I know it's afternoon in some areas. Possibly morning in other areas. Now I'm going to add my little ladybugs. Aren't they cute though? Who wouldn't love this set? And then I'm going to add my bling. And again, this is the bling. You'll get a package for free with a $50 order, along with the 3 card kits if you're just joining in. Okay, there's card number 1. Look how quick and easy that was, and so cute. 3 ladybugs. Okay, let me get settled for card number 2. This time I'm going to be using Daffodil Delight and a sponge dauber. The medium daisy punch. And I did need 1 ladybug that I've already assembled. And let me see, I got to peek at my card. I also need scrap Daffodil Delight cardstock and scrap Granny Apple Green. This cardstock measures the same as card number 1, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold that over. Okay, and here comes some more odd measurements. Basic black. This one is 5 1/4 by 2 1/8. Pattern Party Designer Paper. 5 1/8 by 2. And then this is card number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the designer paper to the black. So you can see again, like card number 1, we just have a small sliver of black peeking through. I'm going to add that to the card front. And I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch around all 3 sides. And then we have this little red banner, real red, measuring 2.5 by 5/8. And I'm only using the little hello stamp on this one. Let me grab my ink. That's going to go right in the middle. And then I'm going to use my paper snips to cut a little banner. If you've never done this, you just go up the middle about 1/4 inch, and then you go from corner to cut and corner to cut. Very easy. Okay, now we got to build our flowers. So I have 3 flowers here, both. All 3 require 2, so we're going to cut 6. Okay, there's my 6. Now we're going to layer these with mini dimensionals. Oops, I ripped that one right off. The adhesive and everything just came off. I must have had my Cheerios this morning. Okay, I'm going to flip this over because I needed the dimensionals on the back, and I need the dimensionals to glue the two layers together. And all you're going to do, if you follow this, you just stagger the petals to fill in those little cracks between the petals. So there's flower number 2 and flower number 3. And there's my sponge dauber comes in. I'm going to bring this closer so you can see the flowers. You can see that I sponged all of the tips just to give it a darker ink color. So there's my sponge dauber. I'm just going to do it right on the tips. It just makes a really big, even though it's Daffodil Delight ink on Daffodil Delight cardstock, you can still see the difference there. Just kind of makes the flower petals pop. And look how quick. One more. Okay, there's my flowers. That's all we need to do with this ink, so I'm going to put that away. Now we need some leaves to go under our flowers, and I actually used the Ladybug punch to do that. So I'm going to cut out, these are the wings of course, but we're using them as leaves for the flowers. There's 2. And now I can start assembling. So I'm going to put my flowers. I'm just going to kind of sneak that one into the other one so they're all bunched together. Then we're going to sneak in our little leaves. So I'm going to put one down here. The other one down here. Then we're going to do the ladybug. The ladybug is heading towards the flowers. Then we've got our little banner. And then we need to add lots of bling. So I'm going to slide this under the flower. Bring in the bling. I'm going to add the big one to the center of each flower. And then I'm going to add a few in the background, and it's the littler dots. Okay, there's card number 2. How cute is that? Very cute with the Daffodil Delight daisies. Okay, boy, we're moving right along tonight. It's easy when everything's cut out for you. Okay, one more card to go, and I'm adding Granny Apple Green for ink color this time, and our bow punch. I also use this little die from our Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I cut one out in basic white, a scrap white for stamping. Card base is the same measurement as card 1 and 2, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Oh, you guys are sending me lots of hearts. I love that you love the cards. Let me just get everything situated. Okay, so now we've got basic black, 4 7/8, 3 5/8, Pattern Party designer paper, 4 3/4, 3.5, another piece of basic black, 5 1/4 by 1 3/8, and lastly a piece of basic white, 5 1/8 by 1 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the designer paper to the black. I hate covering up designer paper. That's so pretty, but we're using this side. I don't have a choice. And again, this is the little piece. I haven't shown you the card yet with the little sliver of black showing through. I'm going to glue this down and then I'll bring the card in. It's going to go right in the center. And you guys that want to place orders to get the free card kits, my hostess code is right here, and I've also listed it on the Facebook post, so if you want to see that. And this is the third card. Look at these cute little ladybugs. So that's what I'm going to do next on this piece of white. Let me grab what I need. Okay, so I'm going to start out by stamping 3 ladybugs, and again I'm going to twist. We're going to put one right in the center, and then I'm just going to add one on each side. Okay, there's my 3 ladybugs. I'm going to let that dry for a minute just before I do my red. I also need one of these large leaf images with the granny apple. So while the ladybugs are drying, because my ink pad is really juicy and I can see that it's still wet, I'm going to do the leaf with granny apple. Even though I missed a little bit right there, the sentiment's going to cover that. So I'm going to go ahead and hand cut. Really easy to hand cut. It's just a bunch of curves. I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch white around the edges. And I like to remind people every time I do fussy cutting, because I know a lot of you guys hate it. Now, this is going to tuck under, so you do have to make sure you go around the stem. Notice that I steer with my left hand and I cut with my right hand. So this, my left hand is what's turning the cardstock when I cut. I'm almost done, and my little ladybug should be dry by the time I finish this. I re-inked all of my ink pads before I started, so they're all quite juicy. Okay, there's my leaf. And I also need the bow punch. I need 2 of the big, even though it's going to cut this one, I'm not going to use that one. I need 2 of these big ones. And we're also going to stamp my friend on this little sentiment. Okay, now let's finish up the little ladybugs. I can still see that that ink is wet. Hold on. Boy, did I really ink that up. I'm going to try not to touch that. Okay, this is the part that goes on the inside. I hope you won't see my head in the way. I'm going to try to stamp it without sticking my head in there. All you're doing is filling out the body with red ink. Number 2. And number 3. Look how easy that was to color that. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I don't want to flip this over. I don't want to smudge that ink. So I'm just going to add the adhesive right there and press this in place. And again, only a little sliver of the black is going to show on the outline. Let me take these away. I'm going to bring in my stamping dimensionals. And again, I don't want to flip this over. It's still shiny and wet for some reason. Just a little spot right on the antenna. So I'm just going to add my dimensionals right to the card base. It's not cheating, right? It works. I'm going to peel these off. And then we're going to add that little piece and then tuck everything else. Okay. So this is going to go about 1/2 inch above the designer paper. Next up is the big leaf. So far so good, you guys. I've done like 3 videos in a row where I've had errors. I shouldn't say that until I'm done, right? Okay, that's going to go. I'm just going to leave the left part of the leaf sticking out. Everything else is tucked behind. I'm going to add one more dimensional on the sentiment. And again, because I have a little tiny blank spot right there, I'm going to add my sentiment a little higher than card number 1 just to cover that. Like I always tell my local customers, there's always a way to fix a boo-boo. I'm just going to add liquid glue. And I'm going to tuck these in. So there's 1. And 2. And lastly, just 2 of the matte dots on the sentiment layer. And that's it. There's card number 3. So that's the end of my workshop. Boy, I did whip through those cards really quickly. Let me bring them all back out. There's that one. This one. And again, if you share my video, you'll have a chance to win a set of the 3 cards. And then also, anybody that orders, your name will go into a drawing for the Calming Camellia stamp set. That's for everyone that orders during the workshop. So thanks so much for joining me, everyone. Thanks for all the love and all the hearts that I see going by. And have a good weekend. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday on my Stampin' Ink Designs group on Facebook. Have a good night, everyone.